Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. This is time I have presentation about my course as Economic and ICT Learning Media for meeting sake. Okay, before enter the material, I want to tell you my identity. My name is Reski Maila Putri. I majored in Economic Education. My identity number is 1905-3019 and I'm by Padang State University. Okay, for this time we have material about four. The first is learning as a communication process. Number two is type of communication, and the third the purpose and the principle of communication, and the last is support and inhibiting factor of communication. Okay, for the first is learning as a communication process. Learning is essential a communication process. Through the communication process, message can be received, absorbed, and internalized by the recipient of the message. So, in order to avoid error in the communication process, it is necessary to use means that can assist the communication process. In classroom learning, the tool or facilities used to facilitate communication are called learning media. The component contained in the communication process are the message, the source of the message, the channel or media, and the recipient of the message. And about the component contained in learning as communication, I have five. The first is teacher can carry out their function or messenger or communication. Number two is learning as recipient of message, and the third is subject matter message, and the fourth learning aids as channel or learning media, and the last is feedback. Was manifestation is a form of question, answer, and disagreement both for student and teacher. And the two topic is type of communication. The first is direct a teacher. Lecture give lesson direction by meeting face to face with student in a room or outside the room in the context of learning, as is happening around a student for elementary school to college. And the two type is indirectly teacher. Lecture can provide a learning tool, a medium without having to meet face-to-face with student. And the student can get information widely through this media, like this distinct school model, which use the internet as a tool for learning. And the third topic is the purpose and the principle of communication. The purpose of communication in learning is to create a common understanding, stimulate student thinking, take action that is harmony with the message received by student. And for the principle of communication, we have five the principle. The first is equation perception. In the process of learning communication, doing the same perception is very important. That is how that teacher and student alike have the same view, especially regarding what will be studied. And the two principle is practice verbal communication. Verbal communication is one of the most widely used and most feasible component of the communication among other communication components. And the third is practice non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication is a very important component of communication. Non-verbal communication is often truly feasible because many are in the form of sign, symbol, and sign. And the fourth principle is listening well. Listening is very important in communication as a whole. Also in learning communication, of course. Especially for learning, it is necessary to listen well in order to understand the material or thing taught by the teacher. And the last principle is to respond well. In addition to listening, Learner also needs to give a good response to what they receive. A good response is not just saying just understand what is being taught, but also studying directly if you don't understand. And the fourth topic is supporting and inhibiting factor of communication. The factors support effective communication in learning. We have third support. The first is communicator or educator. The role of educator as communicator is learning will determine success in realizing interesting learning of our student. And the second support is communicant or student. In communication, a communicator must understand the characteristic of student as communication will receive message. And the last is message listen content. The message factor or listen content is communication is one of the important component. And for factor inhibiting effective communication is learning, we have 7 factors. The first is physical disorder. Physical disturbance is usually related to the situation, place, and atmosphere at the time of communication. And the two is mechanical disturbance. This disorder is related to the tool or media that we use to communicate, intermittent sound to pure microphone or body picture. And the third factor is semantic disorder. Semantic is knowledge about the true meaning of word. The same word will mean different things to different people. And the fourth is culture disturbance. Every society has certain symbols to reveal something in the accordance with the custom and tradition of their respective social group. And the fifth is inference of interest. The communication will only pay attention to messages that are considered to have something to do with his interest. And number 6 is motivational disorder. Motivation will ensure someone to act in accordance with the wish or need. And the last is prejudice disorder. Prejudice is attitude of someone who disrespect other by comparing the self or other, which leads to negative feeling. Okay, I think just it my presentation for right now. Sorry for my mistake and see you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.